morning. Welcome to the first day of summer. We're at Willowbrook Nurseries here in the Fonthill area, and I'm here with Colleen Zimmerman from TERRA, and we decided to venture down to this beautiful area, and we're going to talk about trees today. And again, a lot of people, one thing I noticed the first time I moved into my house last year was, I don't have a single tree in my backyard. And boy, oh boy, do they add, well, there's so many different factors of what they add to our surroundings. So besides, of course, they're just good for us.
Yes, yeah, definitely. With trees, they add curb appeal. They also add value to your home. They add shade, they add habitat for wildlife, and they just look nice.
Yes, absolutely. And there are so many varieties and something for everybody based on the size of your property. Some people barely have any property. And so we're going to talk about some of the different sizes and basically, again, for every size yard you need, right?
Exactly.
So we're going to start way down at the end here.
Yeah, we're starting with the evergreens here. The traditional evergreen, this is a Colorado blue spruce. This is meant for somebody who's got a big space, although it doesn't grow very quickly. If you have a little small condo, probably going to take up the whole yard in time, so you want to have that for more of a larger space.
People forget that sometimes.
Yes.
They're so gorgeous, and it's just that typical, really nice looking, almost Christmas tree feel, but they will literally overgrow, and
yes.
you have to really be wary of that.
Yeah, so that's meant for a bigger space.
Okay.
The next one down the line is a hemlock. They're just kind of a nice, graceful evergreen, and they are a little bit of a larger evergreen as well, but not quite as big as the spruce, so it can, you know, in a smaller size lot, you can get away with that as well.
They're quite nice too because they have that two-tone green to them.
All the new growth is a nice limey green.
Lime green,
yeah.
It's very nice.
And the next one is one of my favorites and very, very popular. Is a Vanderwolf pine. So it's similar look to a white pine, but it's got a bit of a bluish tinge to it. And again, kind of a medium grower. Needs some space to grow, but it's just a beautiful tree. It's very soft, so if you have children or dogs or pets,
that's a good point.
You know, it's not prickly.
Sure.
Neither is the hemlock as well.
Yeah,
it's nice soft.
Okay.
So those are good. And then for a little bit more ornamental and good for small space beside you is the weeping spruce.
Yeah, kind of interesting looking one, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's good for a specimen. So like on a corner of a lot, that is good for a smaller yard because it is narrow and it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. And all the new growth on it as well is that nice chartreusey green
nice
color.
Focal point in your garden.
Exactly. So that would be the accent. It's good for like a front yard or the corner of a deck or something like that.
Okay, so then we're going to shift from the evergreens to, these are my favorites actually. I love these.
These are mine as well. Trees for small spaces. We realize that there's a lot of people who have smaller yards nowadays. They also benefit with the smaller trees is that there's less maintenance because they don't grow as big, so you don't need to prune them as much. So two of the most popular ones are a cut-leaf Japanese maple, and this is a blood-good Japanese maple, which has more of a wider leaf to it.
Right. Okay, so tell me about this one specifically. How is it just going to kind of grow out at this point? How much taller does it get?
These ones don't get too tall, but you can get them in a couple different ways. Sometimes you'll find them so that they're staked and cut leaf.
Yes.
So then they're a little bit taller and narrower. Or this one here is more of a weeper. So this one won't get up much taller. It hasn't been staked. So you can see like the texture and the form of it is a little bit more weeping. So it's more of a mounding look in your garden.
Okay.
And
this
again,
one's called again?
This is a Crimson Queen cut leaf Japanese maple. There's a few other varieties as well.
Right.
Probably one of the more popular ones. Maintains its red color quite well. And then the bloodgood is more upright. It's basically like a small maple tree.
Okay. And what I love about these too is that the leaves do change in color. So they richen a little bit into the fall, that you can see that red just changes a little bit. And they're such a beautiful tree. They're a little bit sensitive, but they are such great trees.
Yes, they're great. And the nice thing with these two as well, with the evergreens are great because you have that overwinter look.
Yes.
Especially with the cut leaf and with the Japanese maples, they have really great branching structures.
Yes,
so
they
even
do.
in the wintertime, they have that look to them, so that gives you some winter interest.
Some of them are just amazing the way the branches
beautiful.
go, right?
Yeah,
so
beautiful.
It's definitely one of my faves for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, and behind you, I love this.
Fragrance. This is a dwarf Korean lilac standard, so you can get them in a shrub form. This one has been grafted onto a stem to make a small tree.
Which is so amazing. So I looked, I'm like, is that a lilac? Like, that's awesome the way that is, because again, as you say, as we know, lilacs can get very, very big and just grow and grow and grow.
Yeah.
But with this, it keeps it a little bit more in control.
Yes, the dwarf Korean lilac, it is a smaller version of it, so you don't have to do a lot of pruning to it. Light pruning right after it blooms, just to keep it shape.
Okay.
You don't want to prune it in the fall, otherwise you'll be pruning off the blooms for the following year.
Okay, good point. All right, moving on.
And the last small tree that we have here is actually a Kusa dogwood. Okay. So it's a hardy version of a dogwood, has beautiful kind of a chartreusey flower in the spring that is a little bit on the whitish side. It can come in a multi-stem as you see here, or you can also get a tree form. Okay. So it's slow growing, you know, it's a native variety as well. So it works quite well.
Okay, and I love the color of the leaves on that beautiful one there.
Yes, the next one we're moving into the larger trees. So for the large shade trees, this is a tricolor beech. Beech is one of the most popular trees right now. Slow growing, maintainable, and neat and tidy. And this tricolor is just fabulous for not only the branching, but also even in the spring, the new buds for the leaves come out. They're like little spikes. So like the texture looks really nice. And then when it leaves out, you've got this fabulous color.
Cool. Okay, I love that. Very nice. And then you've got this one. It's nice and narrow, but it gets big.
Yes, this is a pyramidal hornbeam. And nice thing about it is that it is narrow, so you can put it in a small space, but you still get height out of it. So you can put a nice row of these to give privacy, or use it as a specimen as well.
Yes, and I've seen a lot of people do that where they have used them as privacy because, again, if you just space them perfectly, you can get a real nice little shield there in your property. And a lot of people need that nowadays because they don't have a lot of privacy.
Yeah, and it's good for second-story privacy too, because it gets
good.
nice and tall.
Okay.
And then lastly, the traditional shade tree that everybody loves. This is a Crimson King Japanese maple, so it's got the nice red leaves all summer long,
gorgeous.
big maple leaves, and it's a big tree. So this one you do need a lot of space for, but this is great to plant in your backyard, you know, where your kids are playing, so they need some shade from the sun. And it's really easy to grow.
They're great trees. I mean, they are definitely a selling point. As you mentioned off the top, you know, trees can be such a selling feature for a home. When you have a tree like that, they get such a nice, big, solid, strong trunk on them. And again, as you say, a beautiful shade tree. And they're just a really good, solid tree. It's perfect for our region, our zone, and they just really flourish, don't they?
Yeah, they're easy to grow. They grow relatively quickly compared to some of the other trees. So then they're going to establish a lot faster. And then they just give you that shade that, you know, everybody craves in the summertime.
But just don't plant it too close to your house, right?
True. Any of these
trees. They're so cute when they're small, and they just look so innocent, and you can't even imagine. But I actually was just walking by a house yesterday that had one of those, and it was just too close. The whole fence was pushed out all the way along because of the root system too, right?
Yes, you have to think of the root system. So especially for the large trees, you want to keep them away from the fence and away from your house because they have a root system and they have the branching that's going to get bigger. So
okay, so planting, we're now officially in summer. You have to be careful planting in summer because of the heat sometimes, right? But it is possible.
It is possible to plant in the summer. You want to remember your fertilizer, remember your water, and water is probably one of the most important things. And generally though, a larger specimen rather than a smaller one may do better just because it is already established. It's got a better root system, but number one is fertilizer and water.
Okay, and then of course from that point, plant right through to the fall, get them established, and again, it's something that makes such a difference in your home and your property. So
definitely.
Thank you so much, Colleen, and thanks to all the folks here at Willowbrook as well. And we love coming down here. And hey, everybody! Yay! We finally made it to summer. That's it for now. We'll have more TERRA at home in just a little bit. When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of TERRA. Make your dreams come true at TERRA, where color lives.
Heritage perennials. Look for us in the blue pots.
Good morning, welcome to TERRA at Home. We're down in beautiful Niagara Falls area this morning, and I'm here with Cheryl Tyndall, and you're a curator here at the Niagara Butterfly Conservatory, and what a beautiful place to be.
Yes.
It's this is a great place to work, I'm sure.
Fantastic place to work.
Well, it's funny because I've always wanted to come here and I've never had the opportunity to do so. And the second you walk in, you feel warmth and humidity, and there are butterflies everywhere. And I had no idea that they would be like literally landing on you.
I think there's a lot of people who don't realize that when they first come here. But yeah, this is an amazing facility. It's over 2,000 square feet of tropical rainforest-like plant material that really sets a beautiful stage for over 2,000 free-flying butterflies.
Now, where do all these butterflies come from?
But butterflies are from around the world. So these are all tropical butterflies from rainforests from Costa Rica, El Salvador, Ecuador, the Philippines, and as far away as Australia.
So how do you get these butterflies here?
Ah, that's the magical question.
I'm sure I know they can fly really, really far. We've learned with some of the monarchs and what they do, but really, how do you get them here?
Well, butterfly has 4 life stages. So they have the egg, the caterpillar, and then the chrysalis. And it's that stage that they actually ship. So when the butterfly forms that chrysalis, it has 10 to 14 days before it's going to emerge as a butterfly. So it's during that resting period.
Is when you get to move on.
Yeah, when they get a move on. They're packed in cotton and put in boxes. They're wrapped in foam to protect them from temperature extremes, and put on that airplane, and 24 hours later they're landing in Toronto, and then we get them here.
Unbelievable. When you think about that whole process, you know, they go down for a little nap and they wake up and they're a completely different world.
That's
It's got to
right.
be interesting, but a beautiful one, right? Because you're trying to create that proper climate for them, and they obviously need it.
That's right, and that's the thing, the beauty of this facility. All year round, it's 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 25, 26 degrees Celsius, and a nice humidity of 65% or more. So you really have the tropics all year round, and in the summertime, we air condition, so it never gets unbearably hot in our beautiful conservatory.
Right, because that's the thing, it almost have a little bit of a greenhouse effect, right? So you'd have to be careful to keep the climate controlled.
Yeah, so we want the climate to be perfect for our butterflies and for our visitors.
Well, I'm sure. So that's one thing at least we know when we were in the dead of winter for 6 months, that you could always come here and it feels like summer.
Oh, and we have lots of people that come on repeat visits and sit on a bench and read a book and just soak it in.
Just enjoy. So obviously it's a family affair, really, and it's educational at the same time. When families come here, what can they expect? I mean, they're walking into this beautiful environment, but what are they learning along the way, and what else are they experiencing?
Well, we have a beautiful set of exhibits out front, so they get to learn about the life cycle of the butterfly here. They learn about the monarch migration while they're here. They can see caterpillars feeding and possibly getting ready to form their chrysalis.
That's great.
We have a beautiful emergence window, so that magical moment when a butterfly comes out, people can see that at times.
And where else would you ever be able to experience that, right? In nature, you just don't get that opportunity.
No, they're so
rarely,
small,
right?
We miss the small
Life
things.
happens around you,
happens. That's right.
So this is where you come because it's concentrated, and you know it's being, again, it's in a controlled environment, and this is what it's all about.
That's right.
So you have different events as well, and different sort of features that you do throughout the season as well. As you had one not too long ago on sort of swamp creatures.
Yeah, that was our recent exhibit we had here. So it was a hands-on exhibit where children could come in and you know, handle reptiles and different animals and learn about them. And that one was focused on the world's wetlands. We always try to pick a topic about the environment, and because that's really what we're about here in the Niagara Parks, about preserving and enhancing this beautiful parkway that we have. I like to think of it as the lake-to-lake playground. So there's lots of things to do in Niagara.
Well, that's the thing, right? When we talk about the Niagara Parks Commission, it's huge. It spans
lake to lake.
Lake to lake. So there are so many opportunities to really, again, get back in touch with nature, which a lot of us unfortunately are missing these days, right? Because we're on this winding circle of life, and we need to get out there and be back outside and experience what's going on around us. And you can see watching from the littlest little kids in here right now to adults, they're just completely just shocked and just it's such a beautiful little world in here.
Yeah, I think we hear people talk about us as this is just an awesome, awe-inspiring place. It's so peaceful, fantastic, enchanting, spiritual. There's all sorts of adjectives that are used to describe
So it just feels
the
very
experience.
free and natural, doesn't it?
And that's what our focus was when we built the conservatory. Was we wanted this to be as natural looking as possible. Like even the stonework is all natural. There's over 2,200 metric tons of granite
It's
that
beautiful.
make up these beds. So it was a feat, an engineering feat to build it.
I can imagine. And so how long has it been here now? I remember when it was built originally, but
We're in our 18th year of operation and still going very, very strong. And it's still as enchanting as the very first day we opened it. In fact, the plants are actually more enchanted because they're big and majestic and just stunning.
yeah, they've really developed and filling in. And again, these butterflies are just in their they're in their glory, right? Because this is what they would want to be around. This is their natural environment, really.
That's right.
So when we were joking when we were setting up, and literally I had a butterfly land on my arm, and we were talking about certain scents and smells that sometimes these butterflies are attracted to. So depending on, you know, if you wore a certain cologne or perfume that day, you were even mentioning sometimes they're attracted to salt.
Yeah, it's really kind of funny if you see a gentleman coming in that may be just a little thinner on top or has a sweaty ball cap on, that favorite cap they never take off.
Yeah.
Certain butterflies need salt in their diet, so they'll land on that and actually take the salt off their hat. So you often see a gentleman wandering around with an added attachment to his hat the whole time he's here.
Little ornaments.
A little ornament.
Well, and again, we were talking about, it's interesting to see if you're wearing a sweet smell or what you may be wearing, but really it really gives character, and it makes you realize that these are living creatures. You know, we're just not exposed to butterflies that much. You see one once in a blue moon fly by you.
That's right.
You just don't, especially some of the colors that we're seeing here.
Yeah, they're just like, we have on display anywhere from 45 to 65 different species depending on the time of the year. So you're going to see a range of colors, brilliant oranges and reds and yellows and vibrant iridescent greens, and just
it's pretty cool.
The rainbow.
Now you have a breeding program here as well.
Yeah, we actually do. Of the 2,000 butterflies that are on display at any given time, about 40% of them are actually raised in our greenhouses behind the facility. So we raise about 12 different species, so somewhere around in a year 38,000 butterflies are produced on site.
Wow, so it's really quite an experience I mean, it's great for the education system, for schooling, and we've all learned about sort of that stage, that cycle of life that we talked about at the beginning. You know what that they go through, but it's neat to actually come here and experience some of that, right? Especially with kids books that we know of and are so familiar with that have that cycle of life.
That's right. That's right. And I think one of the most asked questions is about the monarch butterflies,
yes.
and we know how important or how at risk the monarch butterfly is nowadays. So we answer that question a lot. And like, if they only live 2 to 3 weeks, how does the monarch get all the way to Mexico? And well, that particular generation lives 8 months. So
yes.
there's lots of opportunity for education and learning about and what we can do when we go home. That's the other message.
And that's the cool part, is so people can come here, and because we're not telling you the whole life cycle of a monarch butterfly right now, you can come here and experience it and find out the real answers to all those questions.
That's right.
Open hours are?
We're open 10 to 5 daily. In the summertime, we're open till 7 o'clock. So you can always check the website for the hours.
Very good. Okay, well, thank you so much, Cheryl. We appreciate it. Beautiful.
It's our pleasure.
We'll be back with more TERRA at home after this. When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of TERRA. Make your dreams come true at TERRA, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Good morning, welcome back to TERRA at Home. I'm here with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegra in Hamilton. And, well, it's the first day of summer.
It is.
It's taken us a long time to actually get to that point. It
Yes.
feels like we had winter for about 12 months, but we are officially here, and we're going to do a twist on the chicken wing.
Yeah, we, you know what, the chicken wing has been around, and it's a great summertime item. A lot of people like barbecuing them, doing them in the oven, any which way. This little bit of a twist, and one of them is really easy to do, one half of this wing.
Okay.
The other half is a little trickier.
Right.
So, very first thing you need an extremely sharp knife to do what we're about to do.
Okay.
Okay, so if you have a knife and you have a steel, give it a little bit of an edge, okay, because you do want it nice and razor sharp.
Okay.
So here's the drumette on that wing, okay? And this is more for a presentation style and for ease of eating. what you're going to do is you're going to take the knife, put your thumb around the back, and you're going to give it a good twist
Okay.
all the way around.
Just seems so labor intensive to me.
It can be, but this is again where you find. See, at the restaurant, I have my guys do this for me.
I was going to say, this is where you have to find someone else to do it for you.
You have someone
This
do
is
it
ideal.
for you. That's right. And then just take the knife and scrape the meat down to the end of the bone. So you end up with like a lollipop style chicken wing.
Right.
And what's nice about it is when you have that, you have a little bit of a handle.
Yeah.
Turn it inside out all the way if you wanted to, but you have a nice handle to eat with. Roast
Okay.
nicely. The other thing I've done in the past is I've wrapped this part with bacon or prosciutto or even sopressata. Now when you do that, that's a little tricky because you got to put it straight onto the pan and you have to roast it.
Right.
Okay, you can't do that one on the barbecue because it wants to come unraveled.
Unraveled,
And you
yeah.
don't want to put toothpicks and stuff like that.
No.
So we'll put that one in. We have
So
another
you can
one
imagine, you basically have to say to people when they come, you're only allowed to have 2 chicken wings because that's all I could only just really do the labor for 2.
here. Well,
Two
this is definitely one of those jobs that you do well in advance.
Yes.
Well in advance
oh,
of
yes.
people
You don't
coming.
want to be trying to do this.
No, because
the day of.
it is labor intensive for sure. But you know, when it comes to doing food, it's taking the simple things and putting a twist on it or put a
Yeah.
little extra work into it.
And you know what? And in the end, people really do. They do appreciate it. When it comes to food, you know, people have a really nice appreciation for it. As
They
long
do.
as you don't let them drink too much before they eat them. You have to drink you have to eat these sober and appreciate all the hard work I did.
What I've done with the flats of them, so the
Yes.
flat part, is I've deboned it.
Okay.
So again, put the knife around the outside. Now, if you can find wings with the tip still on, it's great because the tip ends up using you can use it as a handle.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
But you end up deboning it, and then what I have here is we have some fresh ground pork. If you can't get fresh ground pork, you can always take the casing off of a sausage.
Oh, sure. Okay.
I prefer to use fresh ground. That way I know exactly what went in it. This is just
Good
ground
idea.
pork. There's no flavoring in it. There's no salt, no pepper. There's no additives. And you're going to stuff
and
that.
that's it. So it's just pure fresh
This is
ground pork.
pure
Okay.
fresh ground pork. What I do is I put the flavoring on the outside of the wing. Okay?
Right.
So you don't, because it's not a lot, it's not, you don't have to worry too much about having not enough salt in the middle of it or anything like that. So if it was a little thicker, then you would have to think about that, but because
Right.
it's just a small wing,
Right.
you'll have enough flavor on the outside. So we're going to finish stuffing this,
Wow.
and then to do this, like I said, you can do these ones on the barbecue the way they are once you flavor them, or the other option is the way we're going to do it. I'm going to start it in a skillet.
Okay.
Okay, so I just wipe my hands here. Now, as far as the flavor goes, you can do whatever you want. This is a combination that I tend to like.
Okay.
Okay, and what it is I have a lemon pepper, so you got a little bit of citrus in there.
Yep.
Now, in most cases, lemon pepper come with salt, so you have to
Yes.
be careful.
Yes.
This is cayenne. This is where you're going to get your heat from.
Okay.
The more you put,
So be careful with
the
that.
more you put, the spicier it gets.
This can really help with them only eating 2 each too.
That's right.
Too hot.
And then I have paprika. And what
Okay.
the paprika will do is give you a nice smokiness. And that's a real nice flavor that goes with
That
those
sounds
chicken
like a
wings.
great combination.
I'm just going to give them a quick mix,
Okay.
toss in the bowl, and then these are going straight into this skillet. I'll turn the skillet up nice and hot. And in
So
they
you
go.
mentioned like people love doing their wings all different ways, and as you say, so you could do these on the grill.
You could do them on the grill, yeah.
But of course, and baking them as well. Like people like to bake them
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, but you're going to get some really good flavor from this.
Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to do them in the skillet, and I'm going to get a nice little crunch on the outside.
Yeah.
And then we're going to finish it in the oven.
All right, that's pretty good.
So we'll get these going. While they're in the pan, we'll add a touch of salt. There we go. We'll add a touch of salt to them.
But I guess this also comes with, you know, experience too of just, you know, once you've tried them the one time, you could say, hey, you know what, I think maybe I would have liked to put a little bit more cayenne in there,
Yeah.
or perhaps, you know, maybe a little bit more salt or less or something. So it's more personal taste based off of the raw ingredients that you've given here, right? Just for your
Exactly.
own-
And you know what? The beauty about doing things like this is you can flip it. You can change it. You can make any combination of spices and stuff. We always try to look for something that has a bit of a savory, a little bit of a sweetness, a little bit of a tartness to it.
Yes.
That's a nice balance in the dish.
Right.
But you can go hot. If you want to go completely hot,
Just go right for it.
and go right for it.
Some
and
people
skip it.
love that. People love sitting down and literally sweating while they're eating their wings.
Yeah, they do. They really do.
I think it's like a man challenge, really. I don't really hear many girls say it, but I seem to like to do that.
I guess it all depends on what city you're from.
True enough. This is true. I agree with you.
So we're just going to keep on flipping this.
But again,
Now-
obviously it's chicken. We want to make sure these are cooked very well.
Yes, you need to cook
They're
them well.
cooking pretty quickly because they're so small, right?
They are thin, they're small, they will cook quickly. You have direct heat going on these right now. So that's going to help seal in the flavors and everything like that. But you will need to finish them in the oven.
Wow.
If you're doing them on the barbecue, you want to keep them on a lower temperature. Do not do it on high. Again, you get flare-ups when you do things on high, especially when something like a chicken wing has a fat content to it because of the skin that's still on.
And that's the sad part is you don't really want and again, it's not good for you. It's not healthy. It's carcinogenic
That's
to have
right.
too much of that and having black chicken because of the flare-up. Okay, very good. You know what we'll do is we're going to continue to cook these. We'll put these in the oven for how long?
These will take about 10 to 12 minutes at about 450.
All right, we'll come back and we'll show you the final product.
When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of TERRA. Make your dreams come true at TERRA, where color lives.
Good morning, welcome back to TERRA at Home. I'm back with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegra in Hamilton, and we're finishing up this fantastic, slightly labor-intensive chicken wing.
Slightly labor-intensive,
slightly.
that's right. So what we did, we finished it in the oven there, okay? Now I put it back on the stove top because there is going to be a certain amount of moisture that you can see that's come out of
Yes,
it.
I saw that. I wasn't
And
expecting that actually when it came out of the oven.
You know what, protein has a certain water content, and that's
Sure.
going to come out when you cook it.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I left it on a low simmer. I'm going to take all the chicken wings out, and we're going to use that as a bit of a sauce. We're going to put it right on top.
I was wondering now, is there any other type of sauce that you would add to these, or you just leave them as it is?
You can leave them as it is. This is almost like what you would see as a dry rub
Yes.
kind. But if you want to do a sauce, I would probably go with a contrast because we had that cayenne in there.
Yeah.
You want to do something on the sweeter side. So you can think of something with a maple or a honey and just kind of offset it with that.
Oh, cool. Sounds very good.
But we'll get all these.
And the great thing about chicken wings is that they're generally a crowd pleaser, especially now that you've stuffed them with
Exactly.
pork and
Yeah,
all the
can't go wrong.
lovely flavor agents that you added there, that lemon pepper seasoning, and again, there's that little bit of spice. So, but they're so great to have just as an appetizer, just a whole bunch of these, or, just part of the evening as one of the many wonderful things people are enjoying through the night. So that looks
Exactly.
so
And you
good.
know what? It's a great bite-sized kind of food.
Yes,
So
exactly.
it's, you don't need big plates for it. A little side plate for this, and away you go.
To remind everybody, of course, you can find the recipe on our website as well, terragreenhouses.com. Amongst all these other fantastic recipes that you presented to us over the last few weeks, it's been always so great having you on our show.
Thank you.
And always some good ideas. And this is a great summer one. And again, well, these are just good all year round, aren't they? Because they're
good.
chicken wings.
You can't go wrong.
Thank you so much again for having you on the show.
Thank you.
And have yourself a great weekend. We'll be back next weekend.